Hopefully somewhere along.
Technology.
This one's full.
It's full?
That,
Can we just
so
override
says
it?
the,
Oh, okay. Then we only have one recorder. Okay.
wait, it says erase.
Oh.
Yeah, erase the darn thing.
Yeah, erase it. It's all downloaded, right?
Yeah, all the last stuff is already on.
There we go. I think that should be, yep, there we go.
The meeting of the North Whidbey Park and Recreation District Board is now called to order. It is 6:33 p.m. on Thursday, June 23rd, 2016. We have a quorum. Commissioner Shingleton, Commissioner Hoffmeyer, Commissioner Fort, Commissioner Holly are present, and Chairman Commissioner Pierce is absent and excused. First order of business, agenda changes. Commissioner Shingleton. Commissioner Hoffmeyer.
Yeah, I certainly would like to see something added. I don't want to step on Richard, though. It had to do with what Mr. Chargaloff had requested about the paper version of the minutes being uploaded online like they used to be. And I see you had asked something about that, so.
The director emailed me back and said that they were working on getting that done.
Okay. So it sounds like that's handled then. We probably don't need to put it on the
Well,
agenda.
it hasn't been done yet, but they're working on it.
She's got all the ones up through March now,
Okay.
so she can put them up now. So, yeah.
Okay. Commissioner Fort, any
Nothing.
changes to the agenda? Okay, the only thing we are going to add is we are going to start off with a letter of commendation to Erica, thank you, Erica Miller, because she's leaving. And so we're going to do that right at the beginning so she can get away and pack. So, and that is all of the agenda changes. All right. So is Erica, oh, there she is. So turn and face the room. Erica, we are pleased to commend you for the exceptional performance in your duties during the period from October 2012 to June 2016. During this time, you contributed well above and beyond the call of duty. You restructured all of our aquatic programs and lifeguard training, and the results increased the attendance and success of the programs, and also increased the quality of our lifeguards and the safety we provide for our patrons. In a critical time for the district, you stepped in to fill the executive director role while the commission searched for a permanent replacement. Your tireless efforts and dedication were instrumental to keeping the district operating. While your achievements are too numerous to mention here, through your leadership, you renegotiated many important out-of-date contracts with supply vendors and the U.S. Navy, procured a new insurance vendor for the district, which was awesome, and its facilities, implemented a more thorough background check process that has contributed greatly to the safety of our patrons and staff, and deftly managed the day-to-day operations while still performing the job of the aquatics director too. Devoted and tireless contributions of valuable employees like you are the key ingredient in our success. Your efforts reflect greatly on yourself, the district, and are greatly appreciated. On behalf of the North Whidbey Park and Recreation District Commissioners and your associates, we commend you for a job well done. And if you want Cecil to sign it, he's just sit.
Thank you.
Okay, public comments. Ally. Or
Actually, if you come up close to the.
So first off, I want to thank you all for being our commissioners, for your time and your effort that you put forth for all of our facilities and for the district. So my role, I feel like, is to advocate. I advocate for our families and I advocate for our children mostly because they don't really have a voice here in this room. And so in this last year, or less than a year, I have worked hard to educate myself and learn more about what it takes to operate a pool facility, how districts work, how decisions can be made, and also how the business can be run and be profitable. Because I feel like that's always where we're working toward, and we need to do that in order to be functioning and sustainable. And so in some of my discussions and lengthy discussions with other facilities and coaches and other boards I've talked to about their startups and where they were at and how they've progressed. And one of the major ones I find is that we have Anacortes as our probably the only pool that we really can recognize as a mirror to Oak Harbor's abilities. Because if you look at other communities, we just don't have that income or that pool. And I know that even here in Oak Harbor, we're really limited on our financial income. We don't get the broader spectrum like Anacortes does with their other schools and districts that they can pull in. Anyway, so in talking to the coach and their booster club, they talked about the last 6 years. And in the last 6 years, they've gone from being $20,000 in the red to now being $20,000 in the black. But it's taken 6 years to get there. And they talked a lot about that journey and the efforts and the importance of how to get there. And so some of that I built up in my thoughts of like what I've seen in our community and around our pool and with our families. So with that said, first of all, what we have done in this last 9 months, we started a booster club. We got nonprofit approval, and we have successfully met all of our mission statements within our bylaws and our goals. We have raised almost $10,000. We've replaced the backstroke flags and the lane lines, and we have plans to replace more equipment after this next board meeting. And we're providing a camp currently, and the kids are getting exceptional extra training that they wouldn't normally get. And everybody in our families have seen the productivity, and we're actually encouraging new membership, and we're even educating the public about the pool and about the team. And there's some interesting lack of knowledge out there in the community, or misinformation. So with that, what can we do? And as families, I feel like we can provide that. We can provide the positive image. We set the example in our statement in our founding words that the families created, the colored letters inside that box. And that we want to live by that here at the pool. We think that's really important, and it was built by all of our families contributing in what they thought the NWAC team meant to them. And then we can educate the public. We can continue to be the voices for the pool, for the community, for all of the kids, and for the programs here. And the biggest importance in my message would be that the NWAC team is a program. It's a program just like all the swim lessons are a program. It's actually supposed to be profitable, and we hope that it will be, and we're working toward that. And I think we're actually making that progress. I think we're making steps toward it, but it's going to need some time for us to see that happen. So anyway, we'd like to work collaboratively, and we want to help all entities. So second is the coach. Coach actually is hired in a professional level, and he brings that to the pool. He brings that to the team, and that is brought to the image of the pool. So that structures not only is trickle-down effect from just the NWAC team, but it trickles down into the staffing and the image here in the community. It's very important. I've talked to many coaches about that. We've even brought in some coaches from Oregon State this week, and they also felt that the importance behind hiring a successful coach and a well-trained coach is that it brings that professionalism to the plate. Staff, we ask that maybe the staff can continue to show that support and continue to encourage the team and encourage to promote the program. And then from the community, we're hoping to encourage the utilization, and that it is for all. Once the demographic of the swimmers here, once they kind of turn 10 years old, you don't have a reason for them to come to the pool as much, and the team produces that. That gives the 10-year-olds to 18-year-olds a program to be a part of, to excel at, and to learn more. And they do. It's fantastic to watch. As we've watched Jilly this weekend swim against a girl doing the Olympic trials. Was incredible. Jilly wasn't very far behind her. So pretty impressive. And then from the commissioners, what we ask for is your patience and time to give us a chance to show you our improvements, but then believe in us. If you believe in us, I promise you will see the goals that you're trying to make. So thank you for your time.
thank you. And I would also say thank you for the time that you've been putting in to the boosters and to the pool. It's very much appreciated. Okay. Right. Oh, board issues. Commissioner Shingleton.
No, thank you.
Commissioner Hoffmeyer.
I think it's all on the agenda.
Nothing.
And I have nothing. Okay, do we have any minutes for approval?
We do not.
We do not. I
Yeah.
thought not. Okay, so.
Yeah, apologies, but-
Don't,
yep.
it's fine. Next time?
Yep.
Okay, voucher reviews. Do I have a motion for the voucher reviews?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve district vouchers 7118 through 7172 in the amount of $31,627.40 and conduct payroll transfers from M&O account to payroll account in the amount of $44,368.61.
Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the vouchers as stated on the page. Discussion.
I have one or two questions.
I do too. That's not.
I know one of my questions actually was, so Commissioner Ford had asked at one point about points. And while I'm not sure of the value, before Ms. Miller's
Oh, that's a good
credit card council, do we have any plan to use those?
Yes, they've already been used.
Yay.
They purchased the DVD player up there. We needed a DVD player. So there's a DVD player under there.
Oh,
And,
Fantastic. That's great news.
For the little area back there where when people come in and buy a cup of soup, we cook it for them unless they want to take it somewhere else. So we bought something that'll cook them quicker than the microwave. So that's what she had. So they've been down. It's down to where there aren't enough points to buy even the lowest thing on the list, even if it didn't apply to them. So
Excellent,
it's
thank
been
you.
done.
Excellent. My other thing was just it was a suggestion as it relates to the vouchers on the county list. Meaning that, well, I guess it's really the QuickBooks list. When we have things like mileage reimbursement, my assumption is that we're putting the information in the memo there. My suggestion would just be to put the dates for which those apply in the future. It just might be a better, I'm sure that it probably exists offline. Just thinking to audit perspective, since typically there are multiple for one person, it would just help keep things straight. And I'm bringing that up specifically because that actually was one thing that was in the last audit by the state. That was actually, it was a minor dollar amount, but it was still an issue. So it's a thought.
Okay, they are kept whenever the vouchers go to county. Then this is just a summary of what goes down there. All of those have dates all on them.
Okay.
So it wouldn't be able to pass an audit.
Okay.
These fields are character limited, and it doesn't mean that it couldn't be done, but if that's what you guys would like to see, I can certainly see if Joanne can.
If
Make
it's
it work.
if it's checked and it's validated that there aren't double entries for things or what
Yeah.
have you, then I'm sure that's fine.
Right,
As long
so-
as there's a process.
Oh yeah, just so, like when Coach travels for a meet,
Yep.
he submits a travel thing at the
Okay.
end, and all the legal stuff that goes with it, the MapQuest thing, the document and all, it all goes in,
Okay.
and I sign and approve it, and it goes down to county for
Cool. Then
vouchers.
that was why I raised it. Sounds like it's not an issue. Thank you.
Okay.
do you have any other questions?
I do not.
On this page,
Is that
there's
the
a,
treasure? Okay, that's
there's a
right.
thing that says
County.
distribute May 16 comp tax, and it's both the exact same amount shows a
Yes.
income and an outgo. What is, I just wanted to know what it was. I didn't understand
So the
it.
comp tax, so I'll read the answer from county.
Okay.
How's that? Okay, so the comp tax, it's actually a compensation tax is what it stands for. There are some properties that qualify for a program for lower property tax rates, like open agriculture and some things like that. So when these properties choose to get out of the program or lose the qualification, they need to repay, or they'll pay the difference in taxes for the number of back. Basically, they're going to pay back taxes if they get out of the program. And so these taxes are considered compensation taxes. And that's what these are. It doesn't change the amount of money we get at all. It's just factored into the,
Because it's shown as both
Yeah, give
a
and
negative
take
and
it
a
away.
positive. So it looks like they gave it to us and then they took it away, or they took it away from us and then they gave it back to us, because it's both a plus and a minus. And it's the same thing. That's why I didn't understand it.
yeah, and I'll have to find out why it's in both columns. It's probably a simple answer, but
Okay.
I don't know it, so I'll find that out. And
Is this-
that's what a compensation
Is
tax
it possibly the taxes that we would owe on that little piece of property that,
No, this is like if you have a property out there and you qualify for a reduced property tax on it,
yeah,
and then you either lose the qualification or choose, you know what, I'm gonna change what my property is now. This is back tax.
Oh.
They go back and collect all what you should have been paying prior, the difference between what you did and what you should have been paying, and that's what this actual number is really is.
okay.
But I'll find out why it's in both columns.
I know, and another question. I saw we got our pool spa permit renewal, blah, blah, blah. 741, is that the normal? That's what it costs us every year? And is it once a year?
It's once a year.
And that, but don't they come and test the water, like, because I saw that you said, we got tested, we're good, pass with flying colors. Don't we have that tested like quarterly?
No, I don't know, I don't think it's quarterly. I think it might be semi-annually or annually.
Okay, but this
But we have-
$740 is only once a year?
Yes.
Okay,
In the health, we had two health, because the county comes, and we just also, as you saw in my notes, the state came and did their test, so we do get tested a couple times.
okay. And then reimburse meet bid Halloween invitational, reimburse meet bid distance, what does that mean? Oh, sorry, it's on the voucher report, May 2016, around the 19th, or on the 19th. $30 each one.
7151, 7152.
Yeah, I just didn't know what those were for.
Coach will tell you.
To have pianists sanction a meet, you have to proceed to go through, send in an application with a fee. That's what it is.
So did we pay it and we got reimbursed, or this was somebody paid it and we reimbursed like you, because you had to send the money in to get the meat?
No, hang on, we're,
It's number 7151 and
okay,
7152.
all right, good, I can take. Okay, no, this gets paid out of the petty cash account.
Okay,
And this is the reimbursement back into the petty
Into
cash
petty cash.
account
Okay.
to cover the expense. I'm sorry,
Okay.
I wasn't following you and didn't know you were on the line.
okay.
Copies of the agenda somewhere?
Don't we usually have, Extra.
Yeah, we quit after February, remember?
we did?
It's not.
Yep.
We can make some
It'd be
copies.
nice if they had like one that they could pass through. It wouldn't cost that much.
Yeah, I don't remember why did we make the decision to not hand
It
out?
was after the training with,
We never made the decision. There was a
I
point
mean,
made
I don't think we
during
need
our
to make a
training.
bunch of them, they just have one to
Yeah.
pass around.
I think to simply do it like they do at City Hall, just the cover page maybe would be very helpful, because there's like 300 pages, and they just pass the cover page around.
Or the agenda itself?
Just the agenda itself.
Yeah.
But
How
have
about
an
if we
extra
just-
one in case
just-
somebody wants to look at something.
Yeah, and I remember, it looked like there were plenty of times where nobody wanted, but if we
Cross that.
take 5 to 10 just of the agenda, I think that'll be nice.
okay.
And then as we find that one gets taken, or two, then we, cut it down or make more. Okay. So, it has been moved and seconded that we approve district vouchers 7118 to 7172 in the amount of $31,627.40. Did I ask you if you had any questions? I'm sorry. Okay. Sorry, interrupting. And payroll transfer from M&O account to payroll account in the amount of $44,368.61. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Awesome. Okay, committee reports. Bylaws. The bylaws, I think, were finished. and I know I'm the vice chair, acting chair, but we were going to basically just dissolve the subcommittee. Does anyone have any objection to that? Okay, we are dissolving the bylaws subcommittee until such time as we need.
We do need to sign those at some point, correct?
What?
The new bylaws. We do need to sign those.
I thought we
and get
did
them online.
sign.
You did, you were absent that night.
Yeah, I wasn't there that night.
Oh, okay, we did sign them.
Okay.
They're ready for you to sign. Do you have?
Actually, in his place, it says absent because he
Ah,
wasn't there.
okay,
which is
okay.
what would
And
happen.
that, has that been posted online now?
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's all good.
Good question. Okay, the levy committee. We met, and we're gonna meet again. We actually went down to the county and talked to the levy people down there. Do we want to say anything else? I mean, we're forming, we have a couple of people that we're looking at for our civilians, our non-commission members, and I have good hope. Anything else on the levy committee? Anything else that okay.
I think we covered it.
All right, program review committee. We are going to talk about NWAC, Mr. Executive Director.
Yep, so we've had 2 meetings as a subcommittee, and Coach was with us on both of them
This.
for representation on the NWAC. And what we were doing in there was coming up with it's kind of a business plan, but it's sort of a straw man of a business plan if you really want to look at it that way. So we came up with this in the last meeting, and then I was asked to present what we came up with here tonight. So the agenda of this is, a little bit of perspective, some history of accomplishments, what the current state is, talk about growth, recruitment, and how we do it, retention, sort of a financial outlook, and then kind of what we're going to require to do it. So for perspective, the NWAC in the past has had over 100 plus swimmers, and we don't think that there's any reason that number can't be attained again. In the past, they've produced elite swimmers, and we don't think that there's any reason that it can't continue to produce elite swimmers, and providing that is what we feel is a service to the community. As we start this discussion, we assume profitability, we assume success, because it doesn't make any sense to start something if you're going to have failure in mind when you start it. So we assume success. Some of the accomplishments that have come out of the NWAC in the past, they have a pretty consistent record of producing elite swimmers. There are a list of names there for those of you that have it. And those are just to name a few. In this one here, and Coach, you might be able to tell me more, but I know that there's at least one girl in the names here that is just qualified for Olympic time trials and was a recent swimmer here with us. We have very high national and Pacific Northwest swimming rankings. Haley Borja, one of our young swimmers, 8 and under, is nationally ranked 33rd. She went up to 28th over the weekend, of almost 4,700 swimmers, 8-year-old and below swimmers out there. In the Pacific Northwest swimming region, she's ranked number 1 in 6 different events. And in those events where she's ranked number 1, outside of the one where she's 33rd, she doesn't rank any lower than 65th, unless that number's changed over the weekend too. 71 over the weekend. So, and she is established, I knew that was a change, 14 NWAC personal records there. So what our belief, this is a service to community, it's a service to families, and what it provides here, a lot of sports do this, but what we believe it provides here is the opportunity for these kids to pursue achievement, uncompromising commitment to a high standard of excellence, and also they learn life's lessons, because you don't win everything, you work hard, and sometimes things don't occur the way you want them to occur. So they have to learn those things. So the current state is that the NWAC is in a rebuilding mode, in both terms of revenue and profitability and in terms of membership. There have been events in the past that I think most of us here are aware of that nearly decimated the club team. And because of that, a lot of people quit. Some went to other club teams. Some just went to other sports. The reputation and goodwill that Oak Harbor had, NWAC had, was severely damaged. And now what we find is in our current state is that through the last 2 swim meets, last October and the one we just held in the beginning of May, that the reputation that we have here now is, okay, Oak Harbor's a place to go, so that reputation's been restored. And I'm leaving masters swimmers out of this discussion, but right now there are 38 active NWAC swimmers, and that's important when we get to where we go. To one of the slides in the financial outlook. Growth is a necessity. So until now, at least for the last year and a half, and I don't know about before that, so, but Coach and I, between the two of us, know in the last year and a half, they've had no money to go out and actively recruit or advertise. It's all been word of mouth and stuff like that. So to make this work, to make growth work, we have to have a time and a monetary commitment made to it. It isn't going to happen overnight, it's going to take time. And it'll occur through recruitment and retention. Our goal, so we have some goals. Now, we don't know if these goals are achievable, we don't know anything, but they're goals that we're going to start with. Through the discovery process that we'll go through here, we'll refine these goals up, down, or whatever, but in reality, we'll know what reality is going to be. Our goal is by September of 2017, which is the start of, so the season, for those that don't know, the swim season starts September and goes through July, at least for us here. And there it starts with a short course season that goes September through March, and then April through the end of July is the long course season, and then of course you bleed a few weeks into August with some of the championship meets. So by the beginning of September of 17, our goal is to have 15 new swimmers on the team. Net 15, not just 15, a net 15. And then our goal is to grow by 10 for the next 3 years after that. This may be achievable, it may not be achievable, but we'll know once we get out there because we don't know. Things that have worked in the past, and Coach has got a lot of experience in it, have worked in some places and haven't worked in other places. We don't know. But initially, here's how we're going to do the recruiting. We do, at the beginning of each of the seasons, we do a bring a friend to practice week. And we do at the beginning of the short course season in September and then at the beginning of April for the long course season. Our goal in this next year is to get 5% growth just out of that alone. We need to do print and media stuff at the beginning of each season so we can get people in there. We're looking to get 5% growth out of that. We have been around since January. Erica, and they just finished up 3 more weeks, I think, 3 more weeks recently, last week being one of them, going around to all the elementary school doing these water safety presentations. And in there, we give them all this information about what goes on here at the pool, swim lesson programs, all the other things we do, and NWAC is now part of that handout as well. School recruiting, and this is one of the things where Coach is really anxious to go, and as am I, and it's one of the places where it's really going to take a lot of discovery there because it's kind of a green field at the moment. So we'll print a flyer at the beginning of each season, and we'll hit the schools for a nice fold out for the fall. And this is to get them into the hands, not a we'll email the secretary and would you pass this out to everyone. And this is to get it into the hands of people so they see it, they physically touch the paper. A recruiting slip in the spring for the long course, and we want to get about a 10% growth out of the fall one, the short course, and we're shooting for 5% growth in the spring. And this means the Oak Harbor School District, the Coopville School District, and the Oak Harbor Christian School.
I'm sorry, 10% goal, 10% growth of what? People at the?
Swimmers.
Okay.
Swimmers.
Okay.
Those are all swimmers. Whidbey Island, I wasn't aware of this, and of course I've been gone from the base for over 20 years, but they have welcome aboard for all the new families that come in. Now, as a group, or as a district, we give our stuff to the Chamber of Commerce for their little bags they take out there, so it's in there. But we're going to look, how do we get out there and get a bigger presence for the district as well as for the NWAC in there. And then one of the things we want to try to tap into is there are a lot of Navy families. We've got one right there. And how do we get these Navy families to know who the new Navy families are coming, if this is a way to go? I mean, this may bear no fruit, and get those families aware of it. You know, who are the swim families, and then they know what they're coming and what's available to them. Speaking engagements, part of what's going to have to occur for the levy are going to be the speaking engagements, but what they need to know is what we do here. And that has to be in there, so that would be another way to get exposure of the NWAC as part of the other programs that are here. I don't know if NWAC fits in the Channel 10 PSAs along with anything else, but I mean, there's things in the district we can do. I just have to find out if that's a viable thing, if they'll allow us to do that. Swim lesson graduates, which is one of the main sources of our swimmers, our goal is to get 5%. Of all the things I've just named, the Bring a Friend to Swim Week and the swim lessons, if you add them both together, those make up the most of the people we gain, and it's what's helped sustain the levels of numbers that we have right now through the outflux and the constant transient environment that we live in here, which leads to retention. Another thing where there's going to be some discovery. Being in a highly transient area, and those that are military might know better than me, but my guess is every 3 to 4 years, probably about 70 to 75% of the people that are here are gone again. So that would affect those, if those families are part of not only what we do in the NWAC, but here at the pool, that they're gone. They come and go. Some don't, but a lot do. We've signed a lot of kids, but the losses are really keeping us at break even. You know, we have some that quit, some that graduate, Navy transfers, and stuff like that. So looking at where the numbers signed versus the numbers retained, the whole retention thing is something that's going to take a little bit of time to get our arms around, and what that is actually going to look like, and what we do to keep the net of all that going in a positive direction. For the financial plan, for this discussion on this slide right here, these are not the NWAC revenue numbers. This is dues. These are dues. And for this discussion, I'm putting all 38 swimmers and the growth into one bucket, and that's the silver level, which is about the middle, and that's about where most of the swimmers are right now. So this is just to give you an indication of what growth can look like. There's no way for me to know how many are going to be in each level, so we picked one and we went with it there. And it does not factor any rate increases that might come down the road. So 38 times 71 would be just in dues alone, about 32 and some change in this coming up season. And you can see the numbers increase each year as if we make the numbers that we're looking for. 53, 63, 73, 83. Those are just dues alone. Those aren't anything else that comes in there. So I don't want you to think that this is the entirety of the revenues. And again, this is only the NWAC, it doesn't include the master swimmers. We're looking to move to a contract arrangement with the families, which for the district provides more predictable revenue. And for the families, it gets them a better idea of what to expect when they come in here. And they'll offer them different ways to pay, you know, a whole year, by the season, monthly, if they just want to spread it out, that would be that way. Our recommendation at the moment, we just had a rate hike, is not to have a rate hike on the NWAC and look at one next May in a review to begin in the September of 2017 swim season. That's our recommendation. And then the other thing that we came up with was about every 2 years to look at the costing, inflation, and the operating costs that are going on here as they change. Rate hikes would match inflation in those real world costs that we have here as a district. What do we need to do this? Well, I'm already doing some of it, and that is money into advertising. So I'm putting $1,000 into it, and although I know I'm putting her on the spot because I haven't talked to her about it yet, one of the things that we will approach the Boosters Club with is there a way they can match to some extent what we're doing to help out with that? But, you're getting put on the spot, but I just haven't had a chance to talk to you about it yet. And there's no answer required from me anyway, so.
Just kidding.
I think
It's
no.
like, she can do that? That's so
Yeah,
good.
what that will give us are products, which are some quality marketing brochures and a video. One of the things I'd like to do for the district is a short little 1.5, 2-minute video or whatever it is that shows a marketing video. Here's what we do here at the district. Now, that'll have to be professionally done, so it's gonna take money and, but again, that's something to figure out. And then time is the last resource requirement. This isn't gonna happen in 1 year. It's not gonna happen overnight. It's gonna take time. And my job, I was hired to turn the place around and grow the whole place, and this is one of the programs that's part of that business growth plan. And if I didn't believe it was doable, I wouldn't be doing it. And that's it.
Questions and comments?
I would just like to add, so we went through this, so as Kaz said, we met once with Commissioner Hawley, and I met once with he and with Coach, and then asked them to, what do you think that you need and what would it look like, and this is what they put together. And so we went through something very similar to this with a couple of tweaks a couple of weeks ago, and I think it's given us a lot of understanding about where I believe the consternation existed, and it was really that, for me personally, I can only speak to, it was that for whatever reason, for whatever set of circumstances that things were continuing to exist in a state where nothing was changing. And that's what at least I was not okay with. And then hearing from, it was a big discovery to hear from the coach. Well, I would love a recruiting budget. How am I supposed to get people? Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. But really, you think you should be doing this, and we're kind of frustrated that growth isn't happening. And so it was kind of we're all kind of annoyed, if you will, by the same thing. And gee, we might have a way to fix this. So the other point to me that was really important about supporting this is the fact that we are taking a similar approach with all the other programs in terms of time. One thing that Kaz has done is, and it's in his report, is talked about, so for example, with the high school, we're raising those prices over time. We're doing that with just about every other program. I don't think it would be fair to have any other expectation than to give this program time as well. So, that's.
Yeah, and I agree. It's the more swimmers we can get, so it's like we do have to put some money into recruiting, I think. And the more swimmers we have, the more in the black or less in the red NWAC will be. And so if we give it time, I think it's a program that is a good one. But I would like it to pay for itself. But not, apparently, not tomorrow. That's fine. But we have a plan. There is a plan, which is awesome.
Yes, I'd like to, I just wanted to lend a little information from my experience that would be helpful to you and listening. And before I get to that, we would not only like to help the program pay for itself, but we would like to have the program help to pay for some of your other programs.
Here.
That would be awesome.
Okay? Because that has happened in other venues, and I would have to think that in the past year, now whether the money was spent on that or not, I wouldn't know, but it would seem to me that there would have been revenue to do that as well. Now, I don't know anything about the rest of it, but I mean, if you're over 100 swimmers, there should have been some money there that would help you with all sorts of things. Okay. And that would certainly be our objective. All right, now, what I wanted to, the reason why I raised my hand was the recruiting information. One thing you need to know is that it is irregular. Now, we didn't know what numbers to put, so we just went out like 10 or so a year, 10 swimmers every year. But it doesn't work like that. It works that you'll have a pile at once, and then maybe not so many, and then another pile. It's erratic. And really know why. There is one constant: Olympic years are productive. We're in an Olympic year. We have not produced a recruiting flyer here in a long time. So it would be new to the public. It wouldn't be saturated with NWAC flyers. They haven't seen one in a long time. You put that together with an Olympic year. This has the potential to be like the first year when I was in Huntingburg, Indiana. I put out a recruiting flyer there, and 72 kids showed up to try out in a community of 5,000 people. Now, I don't know if that'll happen here or not, but it has that potential anyway. And I don't remember how many of those we got, but I mean, it was a nice chunk. It was a pretty good lift. And I would think that we're going to have a similar experience. There's going to be times when there'll be a whole pile come in and we'll be all excited, and then there'll be some where there won't be many. And it's hard to get a read on why that is, but it is the nature of it. It can be cyclical. I've recruited in Farmington, New Mexico. I've recruited in Newport News, Virginia, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I've recruited in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, Huntingburg, Indiana. And I would like to say I've recruited in Oak Harbor, Washington, but I haven't. I'm very anxious to see what that might bring.
Okay, so we've heard from all the members of the subcommittee.
Yeah, I just, I'm pretty impressed with the growth that I've seen in NWAC over the last year. And maybe it's not in the numbers of swimmers, but and maybe my perception was wrong. But my perception was that maybe certain board members were out to get NWAC. And here we hear that's not the case. And we see a May of 2017 timeline. And that's got to be so big for you and your recruiting and for all the families that you have to know that nobody's coming to get them. And to see an executive director willing to take some leadership on this, I couldn't appreciate it more. So thank you to everybody. Board members as well, thank you.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Okay, you don't need anything from us, correct?
No.
Okay.
More, I'll update you as this goes along.
Thanks.
Okay, action item review. Madam Secretary.
I'll do the best I can here.
Which is pretty good usually.
By the way, so I'm looking through them, and I was about to, because it's still an open triangle, Wendy's system here, but the request for the handicap parking sign, very nice, by the way. Very nice. Let's see, looking at, I'm just bringing it up because it's on here, options for closing the park at night.
And I still want to, we're going to get the gate up first and get those signs up, and then I need to talk with the users out there, what makes sense for them. I don't think I should make a decision without their input on that one.
Okay.
Probably have unintended consequences, but I don't want those.
EDIC has to review previous audit to ensure items are compliant.
It's in work still. I'll be in work until we get to the audit in December.
Is that something we should would be better served to just add to your report, or I think
When there's a finding that I think is relevant, yeah. Unless, I mean, I just Joanne and I sit down and look at the stuff. Is what we do, and try to make sure that we're covering our, what did we what did get hit on, and then how do we fix that and not find anything else out.
I think for me it's just reassuring to hear that it is ongoing, and without it being somewhere I don't know that meaning as opposed to, oh yeah, by the way, we have an audit. In this case it would be, oh yep, we're prepared for that. It sounds like you guys are doing things. I think we would all love to recognize you for doing so.
Okay. And
How about that?
I'll here in one of the next couple of months, I'll make it an
Okay.
action item, and I'll put that out as a here's what we found so far,
Okay.
so that you guys know what we have looked at, what we've seen, and what we're doing to mitigate or on those things that we need to.
That would be great.
Yeah, let me do that.
Did we ever get the list of dog park improvements?
Not yet.
Okay,
But that's okay, because now that gives me 2 things to talk to him about. So
Okay,
I'll
super.
pull Mike about that.
okay, super. All right, let's see, I think we are. Go back here. We had one, and oh, this is from unemployment insurance. You already did that one. Trying to catch up here. Okay, most of them are about or the next ones are about the executive director review. We know those are open. Salaried employee, new legislation, RA overtime, CAS to investigate and understand impacts.
Got it on the agenda.
It's on the agenda, but
Yep. All right.
unless you want me to answer it now and it covers the
No,
agenda.
it's fine. I'm just trying to, I'm just reading it. Let's see. Already did that. And so I have it this way, Kaz and Commissioner Hawley to research Commissioner Steve Hoffmeyer's research into donating disposing kayaks. We have that on the agenda for tonight, or is there still an open action item?
It's still going to be open because
Okay.
I found one comment, but I know Steve did it, and I just need to find what he said exactly.
Okay. CAS to forward Booster Club MOA draft to board.
I don't, we're still negotiating it.
Okay, so open, all right.
Still
You were going to ask them to give quarterly updates. Is that still open?
Still open.
Okay, very good. Get us info on donated land, did that. CAS to add cost of new boiler to maintenance list.
He did that.
Okay, thank you. Research equipment available via American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, 2009.
Yeah, that's Matt's doing. It's basically, I think, which what Commissioner Hoffmeyer suggested last time, which was to, look at alternate places to find stuff that might be refurbished, but still
right.
good enough and all that. And Matt's doing that.
Maybe
Okay.
a boiler that was pretty
Right.
good old technology.
I actually remember the
Yeah.
discussion now.
I believe that there are probably others, but those are the ones that I have in front of me. So unless there's something else pressing,
Okay.
I will. There may be new ones that are actually old, but
Okay, unfinished business. Executive Director Performance Evaluation. This is going to remain unfinished and will continue. I apologize, but one of our members has suffered a severe accident, as you know, has been under the weather, and so I will beat it out of him. And we'll hopefully be able to do it next month.
So move to July.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, core business hours.
Were you able to look into what that policy would look like? Were you able to come back with that, or?
I've got what I want to say about core business hours.
Yeah,
which is-
we'd like to hear you first, yeah.
Okay.
Do we want to have a motion first, or?
Well.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, why don't you?
Actually, this
why
is
don't-
just agenda, so it's not. There's no motion been made on it.
Okay.
Yeah, anyway.
All right, why don't you tell us what you found,
Yeah.
and then maybe
Okay.
that'll.
Well, there are lots of definitions of core business hours out there, but in general, it's a fixed block of time during which professional staff members are expected to be there at work. And a full-time professional staff member is typically one who's a 40-hour-a-week person there. So my next question is rhetorical more than anything, because I'm going to say a few other things anyway. The real question is, what problem is trying to be fixed by this? I don't know what the problem is. The district's 33 years old now. By now, most policies regarding what we do should be pretty much in place. And my feel is, if in fact, as mature as we are, if we were to create 100 new policies in the next year, 98, 99 of them ought to come from the staff coming to the commission saying, we'd like to have a policy regarding this to make us be able to do this better. That's the way I feel about that. I don't know that creating a policy, a new policy, is going to fix anything in this case. We have 4 full-time professional staff people. The executive director, head swim coach, maintenance, and aquatics director. 2 of us are what you would say fall in a normal, a normal work day, as it were. Although they're not really normal, but there are 2 of us that are here, on a more consistent basis in a normal block of time. There are 2 outliers. The coach and the maintenance director are outliers out there. Coach is in here 5:30. You start 5:30 in the morning, and is here off and on until, on some days, 8 or 6 o'clock, 6:30. He works 7 days a week. Maintenance is in here in the morning either when you're here or come in and is here for a couple hours to make sure everything's working, everything gets up and running right, all the chemical, and a few other things that he does. And then he's back in almost every day at lunch for some period of time, and then is here in the evenings, and then also works on weekends. So based on that, I don't know that having what we call a set of core business hours actually, the way we do things lends us to doing something like that. Because then what we end up doing is making policies for outliers, and if we do that, my experience is we'll be doing that, we'll be chasing our tail, basically what we're doing. We make policies all days long, and then especially in an industry like this, there's always going to be someone who's going to fall outside of the norm in that, and we just can't make a rule for everything. So rather than core business hours, we operate on what I call, not me, it's called that way anyway, a flex schedule. And it allows alternate work arrangements for people who do here. For Coach being here 7 days a week, it'd be kind of difficult to say, Coach, you got to be here, He's in at 3 different times during the 5-day work week, and then we have 1 time each on the weekends. There are certain maintenance that just can't be done during normal hours when patrons are in the water or in the locker rooms in there. There are things that just can't be done in there. So my feel is to enforce a core business hours policy. It would restrict the flexibility that I think the staff needs rather than enhance it. And the other concern, which will go into the next thing there, if there's a core business hours policy, then I have a guy who is here for core business hours, and now I would potentially put him in, I'll give an example of the showers. For the female locker room, he was here at 3:30 in the morning putting those in, because that's when he could do it. He can't do it during normal hours, so that's when he had to do it. Now I run into an overtime situation. I mean, I run into things that are unintended consequences of it. So the view that from the staff, and I represent the staff, is that we don't think that we need core business hours. The ability to be flexible is what we need for us to get done what we need to get done with the least amount of unintended consequences to it. Those are the comments I had, Commissioner.
Thank
All
you.
right, to that I would certainly say that, first of all, it sounds like you describing Coach Taylor's work schedule. It certainly sounds like he works a majority of his hours during core business hours. Now, I think we're getting caught around the spokes a little bit. I think we're overlooking, the word majority. If a person worked 40 hours, a majority would be 21 of those 40 hours. 30, I guess it would be 16. And in core business hours, if you're the OHT or somewhere, your core business hours are obviously, I hope they're not 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. I think they're more probably 5:30 to maybe 2 a.m.
meet you there. I'll meet you there tomorrow if you want to find out.
I'd rather not. Applebee's maybe. So, I think we're just getting caught around the spokes a little there. It's not the intention of the board whatsoever to define core business hours, even though I keep hearing that we're a mirror of Anacortes, and that's exactly what Anacortes does do. You know, they pretty much define it as between the hours of 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. The notion of because this district is 33 years old and not hardly any new policies are needed, that's just ludicrous. That's not the way the world works. You said we can't have a rule for everything. I think our insurance company, et cetera, would really appreciate it if we did have exactly that, a rule for everything. You know, I really think that policy and a precedent are very important. You know, but both, and I don't think it was intentionally, but both were usurped at our last meeting. You know, like I said, I don't think it was intentional. I really don't. She stepped in. Donna has stepped in as chair while Cecil's out, and I greatly appreciate that. You know, for those that were here, you know, I graciously kind of helped us back up a little bit and went against my own will to make sure that we were in compliance with all laws. You know.
Why don't we just get back, we
Yes,
don't have to
correct.
retread that.
So-
Let's get back to the topic that we're discussing, please.
So, well, I feel it's all related, but I will do that. You know, so throughout the history of the North Whitby Parks and Recreation District, acting under Robert's law, the chair votes to break a tie. You know, not to create a tie, and certainly never to act unilaterally. So I think policy and precedent are important as we move ahead. You know, so I've been encouraged to move along, so I will skip ahead here a little bit. And the motion was, and still is, that all salaried employees will work a majority of their hours during core business hours. And I personally don't see further need to discuss this. So that's all I have to say on it.
It's been moved
Second.
and seconded that, I'm sorry, say it again, exactly what you
Yes.
said.
All salaried employees will work a majority of their hours during core business hours.
It's been moved and seconded, all salaried employees will work a majority of hours during core business hours. I'm going to comment on it. I agree with Kaz. I don't see what's necessary to be fixed. I will not be able to vote on it. I would vote no because I think this is idiotic. And we're tying the hands of the man that we put in charge of the personnel by coming up with something like this. You did mention, in fact, that you did not define what the core hours, so at least you are leaving that to him.
Absolutely.
But I still think it's ridiculous. Anyway, any other discussion on this topic?
Yes.
Okay.
So in light of the upcoming changes, we're going to have to pay overtime for people working over 40 hours a week, even what was considered exempt employees, which he would be, and his salary, I think, falls below the level, which means that he would get overtime.
That's correct.
That's correct.
So, and I really, so we're talking about over 40 hours a week you get overtime, I would assume,
Yes.
because a standard working schedule for a full-time employee is 40 hours a week.
Correct.
Okay. So, will we be talking, and that wasn't put into your little thing, but yeah, so basically the majority of the hours, so we're talking about 21 hours plus, or 20 plus hours.
And the
In the-
new
in
rule
the-
out of the Department of Labor is on the agenda later.
Okay, yeah, I know. So, I'm not sure that we're getting 40 hours a week out of our employee now.
Would you repeat from last time, didn't you tell us that he had tracked in one pay period, it was 96 hours, as I recall?
He logs in.
I thought he didn't. I thought, when I asked about that, punching in and out, you said no.
He
you're
doesn't
supposed-
have to. He logs
Yeah.
in so that we
There
know
we
when he's
go.
working. He doesn't have to. 92 hours in one pay period, 80-something in the last pay period,
So 92 hours in a,
in a
2
pay
week-
period.
2 week
So
period.
2-week pay period.
is it every 2 weeks here or is it twice a month?
It's
Two weeks.
twice a month.
So there was probably 12 days in that 92 hour
I
period?
don't know how many days were in that 92-hour
I mean,
period.
I would assume, you know, that would be my
I would make
assumption.
an assumption.
I would hope that you already knew it, and withholding the numbers, I would assume that's the case. But that's just me.
Actually, if I may.
Yes.
Sorry, we're supposed to be recognized by the chair.
Oh, go ahead.
But actually, Commissioner Hawley just asked him for information that he presented last month, and so I don't know that there's anything, I mean, so he might not have it with him because he didn't expect to, right, exactly. But also, if I could, here's what really concerns me. So I echo what Commissioner Hawley said, but here's the other part that really concerns me, and it hasn't sat well with me since last month. I heard it last month, and I've heard it again this month, that we're effectively saying we believe this would apply to one employee. And we believe this would apply to one employee, I'm just gonna say it, there are people who suspect whether that person is doing their job. That puts us in a very precarious position as a district because we are, in fact, targeting one employee with our policies. We cannot do that. We absolutely cannot do that.
I've said all along, it's not just about now. It's not just about employees we have. You know, I might be off the board in a year and a half. This could have to do with an employee in 10 years. And I would like to say that I put a policy in place. I don't want to be responsible for a failed policy in the future. You know, this is something that senior employees have brought to my attention, as I stated. You know, and the threat of litigation or something is not going to deter me from doing what's right. You know,
Okay,
I'm
could
in
we-
the middle of moving through this.
I know,
so-
but let's stop talking badly about an employee. We are not supposed to do that in open
And
session.
I would assume that
So-
everybody knows that I'm not doing that. So please don't put words in my mouth.
Hush. Well, I have an executive session. We're going to talk about that in executive session because we're not allowed, we shouldn't be bad-mouthing employees.
Correct.
And that's what it has become.
And if you go to every record we have, I have not mentioned an employee's name.
Everybody knows who we're talking about. Thank you. Okay. So right now we have a motion on the table. All salaried employees, I'm writing, will work the majority of their hours during core business hours. So let's get back to just this.
Yes, correct.
And we don't want it pointed toward one person, but it's like, so that means that coach is also, that's going to affect him.
Absolutely.
All righty. So on this particular topic, without naming any names or pointing it at any one person, is there any further discussion?
Is it okay?
Oh, yeah, because you're the HR
I'm the
expert.
the free HR person who runs around with Harvard. So, and I wasn't here last night, so I'm not sure the nature of the conversation, but just two things come to mind just in listening. So in your governance as the board, operational policies are made by the director for your approval. And because the operational decisions it goes that direction. And in this case, with making a policy related to exempt employees, being very mindful of the Federal Labor Standards Act and how those employees work under that, which is if the job meets the requirements of an exempt position, then you work whatever hours you work and you're paid your salary for those hours. So that means if you go to a dentist appointment for a half an hour, you don't take a half an hour sick time. But if you're an hourly employee, you do. And I don't know the details of the circumstances, it's none of my business, but if there is an issue around performance, of course, that lies with the director as well. So it is, this pool is unusual in that it's open from 5, I don't know, you're here at 5 because
I opened it at 5.
I dropped my daughter, I think you're here because your truck is here, and she comes in and she doesn't come back out. So at 5, and then I know that on evenings there's open swims and such. So the operating hours of this are actually unusually long, as opposed to a regular business. So just the exempt, that's not in your purview. The exempt definition, Department of Labor guides that, non-exempt status. So there's a lot that's already established that gives you the guidelines without even policy language.
Well, thank you, and that definitely ties in pretty good to a later agenda item that we asked for his input on, just to know that's handled, so thank you. Thank you very much.
On this topic, I still believe this is in the purview of the director. If you think somebody is not doing the work they're being paid to do, then direct it to the director. He is who we paid to take care of that.
Like I said, I don't think any further discussion is needed, and I would like to see the vote called personally.
It's moved and seconded. All salaried employees will work majority of hours during core business hours. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
It approves a vote of 2 to 1.
Roll call vote.
Roll call vote. Thank you. Commissioner Shingleton.
Nay.
Commissioner Ford.
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffmeyer.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Media policy. I don't remember what we were going to do with the media policy.
You need to postpone that because Cecil.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Cecil, yeah. We need to postpone until Cecil's here. Surplus of vehicles and kayaks.
I'll get that here in a second. So,
This is the motion that he's going to need for us to.
I'll need a motion on that.
Yeah.
So, we have 6 items of property that we need to surplus, so we can auction them off in a sealed bid. And there's a 1984 Suzu Trooper, a 1984 Dodge Van, and 4 kayaks. If you want to see the 4 kayaks, they're wired to the wall out there right outside the window, over there by those benches. They're up next to the window there.
Okay.
So I'm not going to read all their descriptions right here. So I've looked into this, and I've talked with the Whitby News Times about what this is going to cost us. I think it's probably going to run the advertising for the way we have to do it legally here. It's going to run us in the neighborhood of $400 to $500 for the advertising cost. The first one is a little less than the second one because the second one's a little more verbose because you have to add more verbiage. If we sell everything, I believe we will cover the costs. I think we can probably, I would anticipate we could get anywhere from $1,200 maybe up to $2,000 for everything if it goes right. Let's assume everything sells, and we get to set a minimum bid for it, so we can guide it in that way. But right now, to move anything forward, and I've given the verbiage that needs to be put into a motion to be passed, it has to be passed unanimously. A motion that we have a notice of intent to sell surplus property. So that's, yes, sir.
That trailer out there, does that have any function anymore?
It stores a lot of historical financial records right now. Outside of storage, it serves no function.
So there's no place else we could move that stuff to?
Well, I could put it in the shed out there, but then it would pack the shed up to the walls at that point.
Don't you have a plan for the trailer, I thought?
Well, eventually, yeah, I'd like to surplus the.
So that's what I get to my point. If we're going to surplus it, and we're talking about barely making our advertising fee now, if we surplus that along with everything else, maybe we can come out ahead, even if we don't sell everything.
Right, but I'm not recommending we surplus that right now.
So we would do it later and again, there's more advertising costs.
Well, that's going to bring in a lot more money than these. That's a relatively new trailer compared to.
But if we're gonna surplus it, why don't we get rid of it now?
Because I don't have a plan right now for all the rest of the stuff. If you want to delay the surplus until I come up with a plan, then. But I've got a lot of stuff in storage in there, so that's what it would take. It would require time. I will say that while that's certainly, I'm not opposed to that in any way, right now is the time to sell kayaks.
It is.
And that would, so for Commissioner Ford, if we sold that by itself, it's basically a little opening blurb, one line item, and a closing blurb. This is an opening blurb, 6 line items, which is what makes the expense. It's the number of words in the ad that make the expense, not the quantity, or not, well, the quantity leads that, but not the amount of, the value of the things we're selling. So-
Right, I mean, like I've said before, it gets to the point where if we had maybe a chance of not breaking even versus a chance of making a little money, because we've tried to sell these kayaks before and they haven't sold.
Well, we put 12 of them up last year and sold 8 of them. And these are the 4 that weren't sold.
And I think we would have, if we'd set our procedure a little bit looser, meaning somebody who'd bid on another kayak came in and didn't get the one they bid on, could they then buy one they hadn't bid on? Which to me sounds...
Can we do that legally? I thought there was a problem with that.
Well, only because that wasn't the published procedure.
Oh.
We said it had to be, but I think if we put in our procedure that if somebody comes to the meeting and they have bid on a kayak and they don't get that kayak, if there was a kayak that was not bid on at all, that they could then buy that kayak. Does that make common sense?
Yeah, I would think that's a good idea.
Would you open it up
We've done
to
that
a verbal auction bid for, I mean, you'd have to think it through on
Yeah.
how you want to do it.
Yeah.
If we sell everything, we'll more than cover the cost, but I recognize there's a chance that we may not sell if nothing might sell.
I would kind of like to get the vehicles, they were registered and we were paying registration and I don't know if they were insured or not. So we want to get rid of
I agree, we want to
those.
get rid of all this stuff. I'm just
Yeah,
not sure
yeah.
it's profitable for us to try and sell it again.
Yeah. When do you think you might be ready to find a place for that stuff and surplus the?
I can have an answer by next month's regular meeting.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a comment too, and it sounds like we might be moving to the next one, so I feel it's very important to get out my thoughts on it. Given how it went in the past, looking at the advertisement, listening to some of the things we've listened to tonight, I don't like the current policy. I think it's a financial burden to the taxpayers. I think it's ineffective. I sit here in a meeting and we've seen how ineffective it was. We had people that wanted to buy kayaks and they couldn't buy them. It's like, so.
It has to do with because we are a public organization.
Yes,
that's why but I think
can't
we
sell
can.
on Facebook.
If I may.
Yeah.
Right, but the current process was handed to us by our lawyers.
Correct.
Yeah.
So,
And
that was what was prescribed to us, exactly how we had to do it.
I know that there is much less burdensome ways that we can do it, and I hate that we have to go back to our lawyer, but if that's what we have to do.
So we can't sell legally online, huh?
A lot of other districts do it, I guess.
Not according to the law. Not
Okay,
according to
I didn't
the
know.
lawyer.
So what I'm trying to say is I'd like to see the policy changed. I also question why it wasn't included in the city auction 2 Saturdays ago as almost every other taxing district.
Because
on the island did.
we didn't know that until I was looking and saw in the school district, which is the exact same boundaries.
Exactly.
We had no idea we could have.
Yeah,
And I
wish
will,
brought it up
Well,
then,
do-
yeah.
no, but you wouldn't have known it
Yes.
either.
Do
Yeah.
we know that we could have? Do we know that? for
We
a fact?
we do not, but
Okay,
I assume,
and that's the burden that we need to,
and that's what, yeah.
Right, and so it came up as a topic of conversation because we were during or after the
Program
program
review.
subcommittee,
Just-
that we were whining at him about the process, and I was,
Yep.
because it was very expensive, but it was exactly what was prescribed to us by our lawyer. So until we have factual information, not a belief, but factual information that we can do it differently, then we should not do it differently.
I think what I'm saying is, and the reason what I'm saying is so important is the way it was brought to us by our lawyer is so burdensome that I will not be voting for this property to be surplus until the policy's fixed. So I wanted to get that out now before we're back here and we have to put it off for another month.
Okay. I'm kind of on those, it's like, I would hate for us to go into a thing where we either lose money because we don't sell anything. So if we can you see, can we sell stuff online? Can we look at how other people do it? Because, bless our lawyers' hearts, they gave us something that was stone proof, but probably we probably did not have to be that firm. And because we said, yep, we agree with this, we were then tied to it for that sale.
And another question that might be cheaper. I know that, you know, our insurance company obviously represents tons of, you know, special purpose taxing districts.
No, they don't.
Mostly school districts.
Most of the
Yeah,
school, yes.
yeah.
So
But
they have the same requirement for selling something those schools do, and that's what I was getting at. And I guess I called the school district the wrong thing. But
Okay, well, it's important because
It
the
is.
reason why I corrected it
Yes.
is because Endurus, for example, did
Yes.
represent a lot of special purpose districts.
Yes.
I can't remember what they're called.
CIAW.
Thank you. I was gonna just throw out 4 letters and they would have been the wrong ones. Don't start.
I was under the impression that CIAW did say that they had several pools and stuff.
They don't.
They don't.
Okay.
It's mostly municipalities. I
Thank
remember.
you. But I think that
I'll check with
the
them.
obligation for selling a public property or surplus property, I think, is the same though.
Well, I will see what CIAW has to say about it, because I haven't consulted them on this one, because we had the Manny, whatever the long name of the law firm with the process, so
Yeah, let's look at something that will make more sense than, because we did the one and it was like, and we've already found that we didn't like it.
And if there's a way to lift the unanimous decision on being surplus as well, that would make sense to me.
Okay.
I don't know if
Okay,
that's a legal requirement or not, but thank you.
understanding that it does make more sense to sell kayaks this time of year than October, and let's not do that again.
Yeah.
All right, salaried, next topic, salaried employee overtime. Mr. Director.
Well, the real thing here is I've got 2 salaried employees who make under the 47, I'm just rounding up the some odd few pocket change dollars to 47,500 that make under that. So one of them is easier to fix than the other one, and that can be done through a pay raise. It doesn't have that would be in order anyway, that would get it up there, and it's almost a negligible jump anyway. The other employee, the only way to manage it, this doesn't start till December 1st anyway, is when this goes into effect. So the only way to manage this is to say, okay, no, you know, I will have to approve all overtime, which I do now anyway. I approve all the overtime now. No one is supposed to cross the 40 hours in a work week, and that goes down to the client service specialists that sit up front, to the lifeguards, to the senior staff who are hourly. They're not allowed to go overtime unless they get my approval. So that's the only way to manage it until all salaried people are above that threshold. That's all I can do, which is what I'm doing anyway before this came in. Yes. Yes.
I have some questions. Thanks for looking into this. You know, my first question would be, you know, are all of our salaried employees truly exempt? You know, I guess, you know, being white collar or, you know, some supervisor roles, et cetera. I guess that's my first question, and I don't know if maybe Carolyn has a better answer to what is an exempt employee and what isn't. If that's.
Mr. McCaslin, you probably have the definition on the Department of Labor, what classifies.
I don't have that with me in
But
here.
no, of course you
I
wouldn't,
do.
but,
Yes.
so if it meets that test, and, in terms of program oversight, if they're not supervising people,
He does supervise people.
then those other qualifying list of things that must be met in order for something to be classified as exempt. And really, the change in the salary, as you noted, is catching all those people who fall in that kind of mid area, and they need to be addressed in one of the 2 ways you identified. And certainly changing someone to a non-exempt status, and they don't meet the salary threshold, is only going to influence it from the overtime perspective, and if they work erratic hours.
Yeah, and I believe he is. I will review his exempt status to make sure that it does meet the requirements for exempt. But whichever way it goes, I still control the overtime.
Oh, absolutely.
So that they don't do it anyway. So, but I will look into that to make sure that, you know, if there's a way to go, okay, well, we're clear on this one and the other one we're not clear on, or whatever. So I'll recheck.
Very nice to hear you're looking into that, and like you said, I know it's December 1st, and yeah, you know, if some people have to be moved to non-exempt or hourly, or, you know, I look forward to seeing however you have to handle it. And
Okay,
hopefully it doesn't impact us adversely financially, because we're kind of strapped, obviously.
that's why I manage it that way.
Thank you very
Yep.
much. Richard, did you have anything else on that? or-
No, it doesn't.
Thank you for taking my role. Okay, anything else on salaried employee overtime? No. Okay, new business. We were going to go into executive session.
You don't need to do that, though.
No. Well,
Want to move it?
yeah, I want to wait for Cecil to be here to do this discussion, so we're going to cancel that. Okay. Schedule the second quarter budget review. Mr. Director.
Well, there are two things coming. I want to knock out the next two
Yes.
items on here because they're both going to be having to be done. So at the end of June, we'll have ended up Q2, and I owe you guys a budget review for H1 or Q2, however you want to refer to it. I would like to not do that prior to the next regular meeting.
Not
So-
do it prior, so
Yeah,
do it after?
Do it
Okay.
after the next regular meeting. So I think one of my suggestion and then, so let me go to the second one so we can talk about the dates all at once instead of trying to do it twice.
Yeah.
The next one is a mid-year budget revision. When we approved the budget back in November, we knew we were going to have to do a budget revision. I wanted to get through the first half of the year so that I could see how things go. I mean, I'm still getting my arms around a lot of things here, trying to see how it goes. Summer, just in 4 work days of the summer schedule, summer here is quite different than I was, even no matter how many times people told me summer is different here, summer is different here. It just is. In fact, we had a commissioner in swimming last evening. That's how different summer is. Good to see you out here last night. Okay.
Pick the openings when I can get them.
There you go. It was a good time though for you.
Well,
So, my suggestion and recommendation is, if Thursday nights seem to be the night for everyone that works, that we go sequential after the next, so we'd go the 28th, I don't have a calendar up in front of me.
Right. It'll be the 4th, the 11th, or the 18th.
Okay, well, I think I'd like to do them closer together. It gives me more time, but that's really up to you guys. Whatever you guys do, I'll do. But I'd like to go, the August 4th would be the H1/Q2 review. And then the following Thursday, if we keep on Thursday, so the 11th would be the budget revision for the second half of the year.
Do those dates conflict for anybody? Do you know?
no, I have a question though.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it didn't seem like the last one took that long.
And we talked about it, because I would prefer, rather than elongating
Yeah.
our regular mesh thing, let's get in, we'll do it in half an hour, we'll get out of here.
Well,
Do
that's
you-
fine, but
is
why
that-
can't we combine those two items we're talking about here then?
That's up to you guys.
Then rather than having two different
I
meeting
there-
times, let's do the
There are
quarter two
reasons.
review, which kind of ties in with the mid-year budget, I would think.
It would, one of the reasons I would lean toward a separate meeting for it would be for you to have time to digest a Q2 review before a revision of a budget. You guys can determine, I'm just asking not to do it prior to or during the next regular meeting. That's my request.
Well, because
And I agree, because it would be nice to have the full 6 months information, the
Right.
vouchers and the stuff from the county.
Yes, I agree.
And the revision will just be what you're saying, here's the revision I think we should make, right?
Yes, which is
Okay.
what I would do on a regular budget. My job is to come to the commission with a budget. This is what the staff and I have come up with on how we think next year can go.
Okay.
And this will just be, all right, this year we started with this. It'll actually go much like the Q2 review, when you're going to have the cross-reference numbers and all the explanations on So you'll see why I'm making the changes, I'm taking away from this to put here, and we're deleting this, and what, all those explanations would be in it. So, and I'll present it like I would do a Q2 review, and then the discussion, and then the vote.
How about if we do it on the 11th of August, both, and that'll give you a fortnight.
I'm good with that, if
To-
that's the way you want to do it.
Does that work for everybody, the
Sure.
11th of
Sure.
August?
What day of the week is that?
Email
For the-
us maybe the quarter.
Oh, I'll try to get all that to you a week ahead of time, easily. a week
Yeah, that
ahead
way
of
we
time.
can digest it.
Exactly, no, yeah,
For both
for both.
activities.
Yeah.
For
And
both of them.
it,
Budget fund.
it also is intended to include the goals, a goals review. We
Oh,
agreed,
right.
we agreed upon that as well.
Yeah.
In the Q2 review? Okay.
That should
Glad you
work for me.
reminded me
Or,
of that.
or H1.
Okay.
Or
Either way.
H1, either
Either
one.
way.
Okay. All right, I'll get with you on that one.
All right, 11 August, 6:30 PM, budget and goals review.
Okay, so,
Okay, we already did the letter of commendation. Assignment of the district alternate auditing officer. Since Erica has gone, the director would like Matt Morris to be designated the district alternate auditing officer. So I need, and that takes a resolution, so do I need a motion?
yeah, someone will have to make a motion on it. And just by background, whenever you and Commissioner Fort joined, you signed this form for Erica and I to be the auditing officer. It goes down to county. It basically, we're the only two who can do anything, who can sign. We have signature authority. Matt would be on there for a time if I'm not available. So like I'm on vacation, not available, or an emergency comes up and, I'm across town or whatever, and it needs to happen. Joanne manages all the money. I don't want to create a conflict of interest in there.
Yeah.
And Matt is my next senior guy in here, and he's been the alternate auditor. He was the guy before I got here. So it's just really just putting it back into his hands, and he already knows that we're doing this.
It seems logical to me that if something big's gonna go down when you're out of town, it would probably be maintenance related as well, so.
I hope that's what it is.
So I think that makes perfect sense as well.
Okay.
Can I have a motion to the effect that Matt Morris be designated the alternate auditing officer for the district?
Can we just say ditto?
Do I have a second?
Second.
No, you are
okay.
dittoing, I thought.
Okay.
I need a second. No second?
What's the, sure, well, you have
Okay.
something in writing there. Is it appointing? Is it?
Oh, this
I mean,
is-
what's the?
This is designating.
Okay, thank you. I'm like,
Sorry.
It's
The-
okay, you just have your secret piece of paper there, and
Oh.
it would be helpful. Okay, yeah.
Because
like,
Instead of
everything
repeating
is.
it 4
Thank you.
times.
Or like guessing at the right verb.
Okay, I still don't have a second for the motion.
I said second.
Oh, okay. It's been moved and seconded that Matt Morris be assigned the alternate auditing officer for the district. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous decision. Thank you. Sign the paper when it comes around.
There are two
papers.
forms that I'm going to ask y'all to sign. One goes into the resolution binder, the other one goes to county.
Same thing.
They'll be our parent.
Okay, 23. Okay. Staff reports. It's all in writing? Okay.
All in writing, I'll wait for any questions or anything.
So direct your questions to, if you have any, to the director, if you would. I'm not sure I had any.
Number 2, is that something that the board needs to go through at some point as well?
Number 2, what?
So about, hang on. Number 2 on which report?
On yours.
Okay, mine. No,
Okay.
but I can tell, if you want to be here Friday week, if you want to be here, you need to let me know, because if I have 3 or more of you here, one, I've got great victims. Just kidding. I need to put a notice out that there'll be 3 or more people here. But I'll leave it. If you want to attend, you're welcome to come attend. It's active shooter training for those that.
I don't know that I have time, but we are kind of stuck in here.
Yeah. Yeah. So imagine being out in the water, you're like a proverbial duck in the water.
Did you have any questions on the staff reports?
My only question, and this goes back because I had the question last month, was just about the domain name, and it just related to have we fixed that problem that caused us to be assessed?
Well, yeah, because now we paid it, and so we won't, no, we have a tickler.
Okay,
There's a
have we
tickler
fixed
now.
the problem?
Yes,
Okay,
there's a tickler now, yes. Yeah, so there's a tickler that'll come up. And
Is there a reason why we haven't purchased, why we didn't just purchase multiple years? Because it's less expensive and it's not necessarily going anywhere.
Well, no, there's not a reason other than
Okay.
perhaps it was
Okay.
during the time when we didn't have the,
We felt like it wasn't a good spend.
yeah, I was
That's
trying to
fair.
minimize spend
I
to
gotcha.
make sure I had payroll.
Gotcha, fair, thank you. I think that was it for that one. P.S. Since you're here, Coach, and I think I'm not the only one, but appreciate the level of detail that you put into your reports very much. It's very nice to have details.
I had one more thing from Kaz. Number 4, at one point early on in that, I had heard there was some people over at the school that were upset with this. It looks like it was pretty logically worked through there. They're happy with how that ended up and everything?
Yes, I met with superintendent, assistant superintendent, and the athletic director in the superintendent's office. And actually, as I put in the note, he had countered my delivery, or what we proposed to the athletic director. And when his counter actually was higher than my offer. So I accepted his methodology.
Yeah.
And we shortened it to about $400 down to my number. His number would have been about 400 higher.
Awesome.
So
That's very good to hear. So they're happy and committed to
I don't
working
think
with us
they're
in the future?
happy necessarily that they're having to actually pay more now, but we reached, I proposed them, I gave them up to 5 years to get there. They chose 4. And so I think they're happy that now they get a chance to rearrange stuff, so they've got the money for it.
And one other question I had on that, it's kind of related, kind of not. Are they going to have a girls swim coach?
We are assisting them in their coach search.
Awesome, that's so cool to
There
hear.
are 2 candidates in mind. They even asked me about it. I put myself third in line. See what these other 2 candidates say.
That's very good to hear. Thank you.
Haven't they had the same swim coach for both teams?
They do.
She left
They do.
town.
Oh, she
That's
left.
what they would prefer.
Oh,
I didn't know it was for the
That was
boys, too,
correct,
though.
yes.
Wow.
Sorry.
I knew she was doing both teams. I didn't realize she'd left though.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame.
I just don't
There's a
wanna-
candidate out on that deck, and there's a candidate in Cape Girardeau, Missouri.
Okay, cool, interesting. Doc, did you have any questions for the director?
No.
Okay. No further public comments. Final board comments. Commissioner Singleton.
Oh, sorry, I'm still touching.
Oh, sorry. I
okay.
I forgot to come back to you and say, did you have any other questions?
No. It's I just sorry, my computer has a virus, so I haven't been able to look at the last couple of pages, so I feel terrible, but I'm just making sure I catch up. So no open records requests.
None.
So I don't see that on here, even though we said we were going to add it forever.
Yeah, that needs to go back on and it should be in the admin corner or whatever. That it's like we just want to know no open.
It's been in there for the last few months. I just
Yeah, just
I will remind.
It's in
We
the
care.
voucher, actually.
Is it in the voucher?
I thought I read
Is
it
it?
somewhere.
Okay. Did I miss
read it
it?
was like 0, it was like or something. I remember seeing some. I'd have to go back through here to see where I saw what.
I'll ask them to make sure that wherever they put it,
There was something
it's
about.
clearly annotated that that's what they're advertising.
okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
All right.
No, thank you.
So, did you have anything else? Sorry.
Just a question, and maybe this is too detailed, but it looks like we're actually making good progress on the maintenance list.
Yes.
And so we obviously know, well, hey, that like for the roof, we might actually get a quote. That's fantastic. But my question was, so number 10 says that it will be done during the August pool shutdown. Number 9 says this would not be done until the school shutdown period. Does that mean it is intended, so these are the lights. Is that intended to be done then?
Both of them.
Okay,
yeah.
it was just the wording was very different, and so
It was-
I wanted, so that's the plan.
That's the plan, and it was
Excellent.
just to see if you were actually reading it.
See?
With the virus in your head.
I know.
Yeah, no, it's the lights will be, they're part of the shutdown plan and maintenance.
Excellent, I'm glad to hear that, thank you. That was my last question,
Okay.
thank you.
Do you have any comments? Board comments, we're up to board comments. No?
I said
Okay.
no.
Oh, sorry, I missed that. Commissioner Hoffmeyer?
Yeah, I certainly like to see the public that came to the meeting. As a commissioner, I wish there was a way to get hundreds of them out, but I was very encouraged to see 5 or 6. Hundreds of them without pitchforks and stuff, by the way. Just they're to, I think it's pretty clear that the intent of all of us is to represent the taxpayers of the district well. And to those of the community that do show up, it might look ugly at times. We all disagree on some things. And I think it's important to know we're volunteers. We're not experts. We're doing our darndest. And as ugly as it may be at times, we work through it like we did tonight. And it hasn't gotten so ugly that half of the board doesn't have to have us sit in here and sing "We Shall Overcome" or something. But however, I do think everybody on this board is committed enough to where they would do that if they have to. So I just wanted to thank the public for coming and for all of the commissioners for putting up with each other. And you as acting chair, thank you.
Thanks. Doug?
So yeah, it was in the P&L, I think, is where it's listed as a 0 for,
For money spent on it?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I knew there was somewhere, I just couldn't remember where.
Nicely done.
That was a good catch.
Eagle eyes.
Did you have any comments?
No, I have no other
It was a
comment.
brain surgeon. Yeah, that was
Where you
And I don't think I really said, Commissioner Pierce is recovering well from his, I saw him last week and he looked really good, or when we saw him with the levy committee, he looked in good shape. He's really under the weather today. It looked like heck. I went to pick him up, and so hopefully we'll have him back with us next month, sorry. Anyway, good meeting, and meeting adjourned at,
You need a motion for
you're right,
adjournment.
forgot.
Next meeting.
If I'd been looking at my list.
I know, you were just
Okay.
ready to rock.
Final outcome. Next meeting is on Thursday, July 28th, 2016 at 6:30 p.m. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
I make a motion for adjournment.
I have a motion for adjournment. Do I have a second?
Yes, second.
It's moved and seconded. This meeting adjourns. All in favor, say aye.
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 Unanimous. Meeting is adjourned at 10 past 8 o'clock.
See, Cecil's not here and the meetings are short. There's something to this.
Got a gavel.
Hey, Richard, you got anything left in that box?
What box?
The